Welcome, everybody, to the 36th episode and launching our 4th season of the Insiders on Real Estate and Marketing. I'm your host, Sandy Hibbard, and my co-host joining me again in 2023, Mr. Marc Miller. How
Hello.
are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Yeah, good.
And we're going to be sponsored again this year by our favorite title company in the DFW Metroplex, Secured Title of Texas. So check them out over at their website, securedtitletx.com, and you will find a Texas culture, a down-home feeling where you've got a staff of people who have your best interest at heart when it comes to closing your real estate deal. So check them out, and Marc will be giving us more information as we go through our episodes this year on the things that you can expect from Secured Title. And we might even be having some episodes where you bring the team back on, where we can meet some of your people from over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Topics
so
will be
give
relevant.
us an update. I mean, it's a new year.
New year.
We are. It's a weird time. I think Candy and I were talking yesterday about how maybe things are going to roll out second quarter and be a little bit normal, but right now, starting this year, things are kind of up in the air. Where's it going to land? That's what
It started off
dirt on that
slowly
today.
as we anticipated, but I do believe in answered prayer.
I know you do.
And just in the last 5 business days, contracts have started picking up. Strangely enough, refinances have started coming in as well. I think the lenders are making some decisions about paying for the discount points to buy the rates down. We're seeing that in the seller side of the market, obviously now.
Because that's how a lot of people are being able to get their homes.
Yeah. So that is suddenly generated. And I've met with a lot of producers this week, just kind of saying, "What's your sense?" And they're really optimistic, and their activity is lifting again. And so everybody, I think, has gone through the shock factor, and now they're re-engaging, like, okay, how are we going to sell houses now in the environment? And I think the rates are going to soften up. We're never going to see 2% again.
I know.
But I think if we can get in the 5 range, that's a good rate.
Right.
So we got to get a little price adjustment probably along with that. Commercial has still stayed pretty steady. We opened $130 million in new commercial deals this week.
Wow.
Two developments and a very large refinance of a
Such a
multifamily.
great city we live in.
Oh, it is. So anyhow, I'm feeling more relaxed than I am concerned.
Good. And you know, I'm feeling that across the board, not just in business and real estate, but in our lives. You know, we've come off the last 3 years, 4 years, the pandemic, the last 2 years, and I think everyone is finally able to take a breath to say, I think it's okay to go on with my life.
Right.
And we're seeing that all over the place.
Yep.
So it's interesting. It's going to be fun to see how things roll out.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, real estate practitioners, I'll call them that, always eventually adjust to whatever the atmosphere is, and they build in around. Now, I also think that purging is not a bad thing in the real estate industry as well, and we have way too many people in the industry. Just to give you a simple example, in Collin County, which is where my main operations are, 11,000 licensed realtors in Collin County. And the budget, I'm on the Budget and Finance Committee for CCAR, is budgeting about 160 new agents a month joining.
gosh.
I'm thinking, what do they think they're going to sell? Because that's just way too much. So I think we'll get a little purging out of that side. What's happening in the mortgage side, it'll happen in the title side for those that came in only specifically in refinance as an example. And we'll get down to a more balanced population of practitioners.
Well, you will.
Yeah.
And I think also it's an indication of personally how people are feeling right now. Jobs are crazy. People want more of a work-life balance. The younger people are starting businesses for themselves. Some people aren't happy with their jobs, so they get into real estate. The hardest job in the world.
Well, I was saying when everyone is wanting to know, where are people, no one's working, what are they doing? I said, they're all getting their real estate license.
Exactly.
Well, that must be, because
exactly.
I listened to Fox News when I was driving in. They were interviewing the guy that does, I'll blow his name, but he did the dirty jobs. He can't remember the guy's name, but he's got a very familiar voice. But he has a foundation, but he had a specific statistic, and that is men between the ages of 25 and 54. There's 7.2 million men unemployed, not because they can't get a job, because they're not seeking a job.
Hmm.
I'm thinking that is a weird spread of a number.
That is weird. I
for
wonder, and what did you say the age?
29 to 54.
That's prime working years.
I know. That's
So
what I
you're-
just can't
that's-
understand
that's
about
when you're
that.
building your
So,
life,
Anyhow, but that kind of goes to foundational
crazy.
side of work. So, well, let's move on.
Yeah, well,
We're-
hey, we've got
we got
a
the girl.
superstar. I know.
Girl.
Mark and I were so excited
Yeah.
when we could get the dirt
So
disher
if you're in real
Candy
estate,
here.
and our audiences are,
Yeah.
you know Candy, you know Candy's dirt. She hails from Chicago as a Master of Journalism from Columbia, and was with D Magazine, and started a blog called Dallas Dirt, which I didn't recall. I kind of soon saw the writing on the wall on the platform.
We're gonna pick
and
your brain about
eventually,
that.
yeah, eventually, that print would kind of become more obsolete. And sure enough, in 2010, she launched out to create Candy's Dirt, and the rest is history. So 13 years down the road now,
I can't believe it. Yep.
what have you done in evolving? Because I think one point I'd make is you're not anymore what I would call a blog site. You're a news site.
We're a news site.
So
a
you're
website.
providing news related to our industry,
Right.
to that side, and that was kind of, did you evolve that, correct?
Well, it was always the dream that I had, was to be a complete news site for real estate. I say there's two things that people really care about in Dallas and probably the whole state of Texas, and that's football and real estate. That's it.
That is so true.
And we had the Dallas Morning News was weak on their real estate coverage with Steve Brown. I mean, I like Steve. I think he's got a very blah personality.
He needs to retire.
I know.
right.
And you were, what they did was they threw him cover everything, cover real estate, cover commercial, cover residential.
Right.
You can't do that in a town where that's, as I said, the number one thing going on, the biggest interest.
Too much going on.
Too much for him. So too much for one person. No wonder he's, ready to go. I play a little game with Steve whenever we go to these conferences to NARI, the National Association of Real Estate Editors, which we both belong to. I always try to grab him to have a drink with me. He literally hides. He'll go down a back staircase somewhere to get away from me. I chase him. I'm my usual aggressive self. So
I love it.
I just believed in this, and I found myself when I was at D not really caring about the print product as much, but the site on site, and I saw the potential. A very funny story. My son got a job in San Francisco, well, the Bay Area. Actually, he's in Menlo Park, which is their Silicon Valley area, and he got this job right out of college, out of Trinity, and I wanted to take him and get him settled. Of course, he didn't want mom to go. So I researched online. I found a conference at the exact same time his job started, which was Inman. And Inman was kind of fresh then, Inman Real Estate Connect. And they were teaching blogging. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to go to this and figure out what blogging is all about, because I'm kind of older and I didn't really, know all this, computer stuff, technology. And so I got out there, and that was my perfect excuse to take him, escort him to his first job and get him settled.
I love that.
And he got settled, by the way, in a room in a house, because there was no housing that was affordable. I mean, apartments there were going for, his whole salary basically a month.
Right.
And so what they do is they rent rooms and homes. And I thought that was very interesting. He was a boy, so I felt that was okay. If it would have been my daughter, I might have been, a little more hesitant. But, I got him settled. I went to this conference, and my mind was blown with how much I didn't know. And here I was covering real estate for D Magazine, and I didn't know yet about Twitter, which I called Twatter, and terrible. And I didn't know about blogging. I didn't know about the impact that the internet was having in real estate. And Zillow was just kind of starting then. And Zillow was being looked at by the real estate community very, with a lot of suspicion. And I do think that Zillow thought, oh my God, this is great. We can just put everything online. People will buy homes online, get rid of realtors, capture that commission, and we're going to be billionaires,
Those were the days.
Yeah, well, they thought. And I think that Zillow did change. I mean, Zillow is where everyone goes for homes now. 84%, I think, of searches.
No,
start with
it's
Zillow.
evolved a lot. I remember working in
Yeah.
Zillow right when all the whole social media thing started
Yeah.
in 2006 to
Yeah.
2008. And real estate companies were very skeptical. They were
Very
afraid
skeptical.
of Zillow, you know.
Terrified.
Yeah,
Yeah. They didn't know what well, you know, because it was the unknown. And I think that in our whole world, we are in the middle of this transition, this technological transition. And that's what I saw coming. And I kind of thought to myself, I said, you know, I could just kind of ride into the sunset with print and then just go, you know, garden or something, although I'm a terrible gardener. I'm not a great cook either. And so I thought I could do that, or I could maybe just dip into this new world here. I mean, you know, I see these kids on their little phone. I mean, I had a Motorola flip phone and a notebook, right? And everyone's running around this conference with their iPhone. So as soon as I got home, I got an iPhone, right? And I figured it out. And I said, oh my God, this is amazing. It's like having a little computer in your hands. You know, it's great. And so I just decided that I could do this. I mean, I would just ask, I'd figure it out. If a 20-year-old can do it, I can certainly do it, right? So I figured it out, and then I just said, oh my God, this is like the perfect thing for real estate. Because I remember the days of having those big books.
Oh, yeah.
The big
MLS books.
MLS books. And I thought, this is, you know, totally replacing that. It's much better for the environment, and it's going to have such widespread, you know, repercussions to everyone, because you can now look at properties anywhere. It's
Right.
opened it up. It unlocked the padlock.
Right.
And in many ways, that's what the internet has done to media too. That it unlocked the padlock that editors had, publishers had. Of course, they have agendas. They all have agendas. They have had agendas for years. And I think what happened in media was that they kept hiring younger and younger editors because they were, you know, cheaper, and they got them fresh from college, and they were more liberal. And so you've got this slant that I used to deny it, but now I agree. Yes, the media has definitely taken a left slant. And it's now what you're seeing is that people are shunning that. They're saying, I don't have to have that. I just read before I walked in here that the Washington Post has lost 500,000 subscribers. And, you know, young people aren't going to pay for these paywalls. They're going to find a way around it. They're going to either hack into it, or they're going to get it from a friend. And what they're doing is they're all on their phone. They're not picking up newspapers at all. And they're certainly
no.
not doing magazines, maybe once in a while. But I mean, magazine, I think subscriptions and impact is about going to be half of what it once was.
Right.
It's all about our laptops and our phones and our watches, right? And pretty soon, as I told my grandchildren last week, probably they'll have like a ring or something, or an earring or something that'll be your computer at some point. I mean,
Probably some little thing in your glasses.
the glasses,
Yeah.
well, they already have the Google glasses.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like technology is not going to stop. It's going to progress,
Right.
and you have to get with it. So I decided to launch this as a kind of an experiment and a startup. And I now have 3 full-time writers, and I have 14 freelancers. And I just had lunch today with a Dallas City Council member, and he said to me, he said, you know, your site, he said, has a lot of impact. He says people are reading it and they know that once it's out there, it's out there. And he said, you are writing about stuff that even the morning news isn't covering, because I now have a reporter, a very good reporter, who's dedicated to City Hall, to the housing policies, because housing is a very important topic in politics, because it's becoming harder and harder, as you know, and that's one reason why, as these interest rates go up, it locks out mostly the first-time home buyer.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Unless they go way out parameter somewhere,
Right.
and even more of those builders are building to lease, not building to sell.
That's something we're writing about right now, is
Yeah.
this new change. And, you know, it's funny because I'm sensing this feel from the left and the progressives that somehow ownership is bad, which is kind of a generational thing, too. You know, ownership of cars, people less driving, people are doing Uber and all that. And so it's kind of spilling over into housing now, where, we don't want to own this, we just want to lease it. But, you know, people forget owning a home is actually one of the biggest ways to financial independence.
Absolutely.
You pay for your home. I know of course you have to pay taxes, which is another story. Taxes, insurance, you know, your mortgage.
Right.
But when it's done, you have a piece of property there. You got a piece
Oh,
of
yeah.
the rock.
It's
It's
a
a
path
savings
to wealth.
account.
It is.
It's a savings account,
is.
and
It
it
is.
helps you, you know, when you retire. And I don't like the message that's going out about the renting is better. I mean, for some people, yes. I don't say not everyone should own a home, but I think that if possible, I would like to see as many people as possible owning homes. And home ownership reached a peak, I believe, in the probably right around 2007. Yeah. And
Well, when you think about home ownership, though, the prospects of having a home outside of Texas, Oklahoma, this area, in some of the coastal states and bigger cities, is very hard for the regular working guy, who is, working for lower wages than what should be at some point. And so I think that it's almost like a vacuum. As there are less people that can afford, there's going to be more talk, and more content writers are going to hop on that bandwagon to support that thing, to say, yeah, okay, you don't need to own a home. But whereas when we were younger, that was the dream of our life. It wasn't an option. We grew up, we got married, we went to college, and we owned a home. That was how we did it. But life is so different now.
Yeah.
And it's so different in other places other than Dallas. That's why I'm saying we're really lucky to live here, because you can afford to get a home here. You can afford to buy a home in Oklahoma City, where my mom lives. Those areas, you can have home ownership. But you go to New York, you go to California, it's a whole different world. There's millions of people in those areas that would love to own a home, but they cannot. It's not affordable.
Right.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword, and I think that that's the reason why I liked your comment that was talking about the Dallas market's okay. Don't confuse the Dallas market with California or New York or somewhere else.
Mainstream media is just looking at the whole country.
The bigger picture. And this is why I love your site. And this is
we
why
are local.
You
Real
are
estate
important.
is a local story.
It is a local story. And I think that's why you're saying you're going into Austin dirt, right? And
yes.
you're going to be expanding and doing these other things. And I think that's so vital.
Right.
What you're doing, your job in bringing the local real estate news and the reality to real estate people.
Well, the other thing is, when you do an article and you post it, it's getting read out there, and your people want to be in that recognition when you write up something. Because when I see your post, I will open it and I will read it. Where most stuff I might glance over that, but I know that you're going to have some good content.
We have a tremendously high open rate on our newsletter.
Yeah.
So we have the website, and then if you subscribe to the website, which I hope you all do, go in there and subscribe, you will get it in your mailbox every day, and then you can open it, and you don't have to, if you're busy, don't open it, or you can come back to it anytime. But we have a tremendously high open rate because all of our content is authentic. We do not have anything promotional in there, unless it's sponsored. We have that because I have to pay the bills,
Sure.
right?
Right.
But we do that, and then we say it's sponsored, but we also have news that is real estate related. We don't aggregate, we don't rehash. I know, I love The Real Deal. It's a great publication. I met the owner this summer, the publisher, the founder, and he's very much like me, kind of an entrepreneur. And he's now starting, a Texas, because he noticed, he told me, he said, I found so many, whenever we ran a story about Texas, so many people were reading about it. So he knows there's a lot of interest in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's got something here, but he's doing aggregation, which means you take a story that's been somewhere else and you kind of put a new spin on it, and you write it. And if you're nice, if you're a good citizen journalist, you put a link to that original story in there. But I don't know if that's even going away now. I never get when the morning news didn't want anyone to share their stories.
Right.
We paid for it, and this is our product. You have to come here and read it. Well, guess what?
Wake up.
This
is the world of the internet.
Exactly. It's kind of like telling a kid, don't share your food with anyone,
I know. It's right. And what you were saying about how the internet has changed the game in the industry, it's also changed the game in marketing.
Yes.
Because now marketing, where it used to be locked up to agencies and graphic designers, now marketing is open to everyone. And guess what, people? That means you have to be a marketer.
Right.
I mean, that's the downside to it. It's like, if you own a business today, if you're in the real estate business, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to be a marketer. And if you've got enough money set aside for marketing, you can afford to outsource it. But But mostly you're going to have to get involved, get your hands dirty, make those videos,
Yep.
create that content and post about your company, because nobody at first is going to know about that better than you. So that is how the internet has changed the game too, hugely. And I see that when I was thinking about this year and just the content that I'm bringing to my clients and to my audience is, I was kind of laughing, thinking, well, there's really nothing new to say about marketing, but there's everything to say about marketing. You know, it's one of those kinds of things. Everything is new, nothing is new.
Right.
And, you know, if you get the gist of that, I think you understand that Marketing 101 is Marketing 101 today or in 2000. But how you perform that marketing,
The vehicles
different. That you use are different. And there have never been more than there are right now. It's so overwhelming. There's so many different ways.
The channel. Sometimes my brain is like, okay, what channel am I on? Am I on Facebook? Am I on Twitter?
Yeah.
Am I on Messenger? I'm on Instagram. Am I on my email? I mean, it's like you got to kind of sit there, and I swear it's giving me ADD, but that's all. I mean,
Well, I think we're all
in that.
I think we are.
So what's your opinion on blogging? Do you think blogging's still a valid approach to
Well, now
marketing?
there's too many. There's too many now. I mean,
And what is it? Like the number is crazy, you know?
when there's so many,
A billion?
God, I used to know this about 5 years ago, and then I think it's probably quadrupled since
Yeah.
then. I mean, it's kind of like the planets out there, or the stars. You know, there's so many now. I mean, I was fortunate. I would say this was also just a bit of good luck for me that I started when I did,
When you
because
did.
it was new. It was
were
a
ahead
new
of the
thing,
curve.
and so I sort of am seen as that. You know.
Yeah.
I'm the foundation. I'm one of the first people, one of the leaders in it, you know, in Dallas Fort Worth. But purely, it was just sort of an idea, just sort of a hunch I had, you know, that, you know, as when I think through things, I always think about, well, you know, what are the possibilities, and then, you know, look at both sides of it, you know, and I kind of saw more leaning towards the online side, more people, you know,
Yeah.
strength going there,
Yeah.
and I do believe that. It's going to continue. You're going to continue if you don't keep your market going. If you don't hold on to that audience, you will lose them, because there's so many out there. The competition is more fierce than ever.
Agreed.
And
What's your secret to holding that audience?
well, I think we have to always. I think it's content. I am just so big on content, and I drive my staff crazy, because I will say, we need to do this, we need to do that. I came across a story the other day that was fascinating to me, and actually it was something I donated at a charity. I donated to, and this woman bought it, and she actually it's a travel company, so it's not real estate related, but you know, I can usually find a real estate connection to anything under the sun, you know, and I'll try to find it and put it on. But she's got a travel company where they put together vacations for families who want to teach their kids kind of social causes, and they maybe go and build a house with a family. It's a program like that where you can go and see how the rest of the world lives, instead of taking them to, you know, these second home communities where they are pampered, and they have like Martis Camp in where's Martis Camp near Tahoe in California. One of the most amazing second home communities on earth. They literally had to do no marketing, because everyone from Silicon Valley bought homes there sight unseen, starting at $4 million. You know, and I visited it, and they have this children's barn with a movie theater, a couple 5 art studios, like 5 restaurants. You know, gym, everything for the kids to
Camps
do.
for the elite children.
Camps
it's
for the
not
elite
realistic.
children. And also, you know, nannies on staff so you can park your kids there and go away, you know, have fun. And that's great. And
Yeah.
they could, but those folks might someday go, "Ooh, boy, we're kind of giving our kids a skewed view of life here,"
Right,
you know.
right.
And maybe we need to teach them about social responsibility. So she's created these vacations. So I think that there's my connection right there. The home. See, I got the connection. Right
There it is.
And I think that's an interesting story. So I just happen to have a lot of ideas, and they probably come at about the rate of 16 a minute. And some of them are terrible, and some of them are okay. And my staff sometimes says, no, Candy, no. But I also really believe in listening to my staff, because I've got all journalists on staff, people who've written for other publications, including the Morning News. And I just lost a former morning news writer who came to work for me, and who's now back at the news. I said, well, the door's open when you want to come back. You know, I'm very easy about that. And we always think of these ideas, and we have a lot of interesting content, and I think that's the secret. And every day I get at least 20 solicitations from people who want to post on the site, and it's just like delete, 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 delete. Leave me alone. I don't do that. I mean, everything is
You vet everything that's
curated, vetted, and just like
That's good.
just like you would at any newspaper or any media
What's your
organization.
kind of personal methodology of connecting into the real estate market itself in terms of luxury realtors or whomever it may be? I mean, how do you stay connected so you're on ground level with that?
I go out a lot.
Okay.
I'm like the party queen now.
I would believe that.
I think that I love people. I love people.
yeah.
COVID taught me that I cannot live in a silo. I mean, I really love people. I thank God for Zoom, right? I started loving the real estate. First of all, I think I've always loved real estate, even though I'm a journalist. And the first thing I told my husband when we moved here is we got to buy a house. He's like, "Oh my God, we've got medical school debt. We've got graduate school debt." I said, "I don't care. We got to get a house." And we moved up. I moved us up from house to house to house. I got to move us down now from big house to downsizing. You'll be reading a lot about that. I believe in that, and I've always loved it. And I've always found realtors to be fascinating people because they're not cookie cutter. They're
Right.
different.
Every single one.
Every single one of them is unique, and they're so creative and so wild, and so some of them are off the wall, but they're amazing. And so I was fascinated with them. So of course I was kind of drawn to them, and I think that in this community, never before did they have a publication that was there for them. And I did not realize when I was at D how many realtors and people in the industry, because not just agents read us, because there's 11,000 in Collin County and probably 22 in Dallas,
At least,
Metro
yeah,
Tex,
yeah.
Dallas County. Yeah. So all those folks are reading us. So we have those solid readers, and that's why we have such a high number on our newsletter. And then we've got the title companies and the mortgage companies and the inspectors and the
Right.
all the peripherals, because I think it was Inman that said that whenever there is a home purchased, there's 81 different people involved in it. Which, when I read that statistic, I was like, holy cow, that's a lot of people. So we have all of those readers, and we cater to them. We want to know about their moves and their changes and their
Beautiful.
hobbies and everything. So we have something for them. So I gave them what they didn't have. And so they flocked to it. So I learned this when I wrote about Eleanor Mowry Sheets at D. This was at D. And I had heard, I was getting, word that that she was having some issues, and some people were not getting paid, and that her signs were being besmirched, And I actually played reporter, and I went out and looked, and I never saw any. I thought everything looked fine, but people kept telling me this. I said, well, send me more evidence, and I'll meet with you, I'll talk to you, I'll give you confidentiality. You have to do that sometimes in journalism. You've got to have a deep throat, because otherwise you can't get the information, right? So, they kept sending me more and more, and then lo and behold, the IRS files a lawsuit against them for not paying their employment taxes. Bad. Other people's money. It's not that you were just fudging your, 1040 or whatever. You misused the money that really was other people. So they filed that lawsuit, and the story broke open, and I saw how many realtors were reading us because we broke that story.
Right.
Wow. So was that your first
It was at D, yes. It was
realization
that, and then of course I found out where the Bush home was coming. I reported on that and researched that.
Now,
And
talk to me about house porn.
well, house porn is what I call what we do every day of the week. Is we kind of, my menu, or my cooking recipe, I should say, is that we give people house porn, and then in between that we give them news.
Yes,
They
yes,
may not want to read about news. They may go, oh, I don't want to read about this, but they'll read about house porn because it's fun. It's lovely, and folks read us a lot.
You can dream.
You can dream.
Yeah.
Our highest reading rate is around lunchtime, and then again right afterwards, because it kind of goes like this: morning. A lot of people read us in the morning, and then you see the dip.
That is so cute.
And then lunchtime it goes up, and then it goes down.
I think my daughter's addicted to house porn.
Is she? Yeah.
She's on Realtor.com all day long.
Yes.
Looking at houses and, oh, Mom, look at this gorgeous home. Look at this kitchen. people love that.
And now speaking of Realtor.com, CoStar
Yeah, what's happening
is
there?
buying that. Well, I'm just now digging into this, but here's the deal. CoStar is, I know I have a lot of friends who work for CoStar. It's a huge, huge, huge company, massively #1 in commercial real estate. And I would say my first reaction is Zillow has to now really own up to this, because they buy, Move.com is the parent company for Realtor.com. And they were a company of their own. Actually, when I started my site, they invited me out to the LA area. Went out there and talked to them about doing some, video. I did a few videos out there with them, and they really loved what I was doing with Candy Stir. And they encouraged me to take it on my own, as did Mama, the real stalker. She and I had lunch. He and I had lunch, and he said, "Do this. Just go out and do it. You're gonna, be fine with it." So, I got some tips from them. So then, Move.com was purchased by Rupert Murdoch, and they, managed that. And they really didn't do that much with it. But I think it was almost $1 billion that they bought it for, and now they're selling it to CoStar for $3 billion. And I think that Inman now, they're even saying that probably wasn't enough, because they have so many readers. $3 billion seems a little low, is what Spencer Raskoff, who was one of the founders of Zillow, said. He said that it was just it's so strong. So with CoStar now having commercial and residential,
That's going to be interesting.
it's a huge empire of eyeballs.
It is.
And people absolutely go there to look for homes. They go to Zillow to look for homes, and not to buy, but just to think about it.
Dream.
But you know what? Sometimes the dream becomes a reality.
It does, absolutely.
Because you
it
don't
does.
know what happens in life to change your fortune. Oh my God, someone died,
Beautiful.
left me a little money. Oh my God, I might go buy that house.
That's
so-and-so.
right.
Or
That's
maybe we
right.
do want to move to
Yeah.
Phoenix or Scottsdale after all. So I'll go back to looking at those homes.
Exactly.
But we are obsessed with beautiful homes. And I knew that COVID,
So many here in Dallas, too.
oh my God. Well, I think homes are one of our strengths.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful homes here.
And our city council seems hell-bent on destroying that right now. We have to really nurture the fact that we have beautiful homes and neighborhoods here. And yes, multifamily is great, but don't put it everywhere,
No.
Just watch where it goes.
We are out of time.
We are not out of time.
We are.
Oh my God, we didn't
Makes
even
me
get
so
into this
mad.
show.
I know.
Oh my
Have you
God.
back.
So,
Oh my God.
yeah, you're coming back, girlfriend.
Okay.
The one question I want to ask you, though, to end the show
Yes.
is everybody, and you know this, I know this, every luxury realtor wants to get on your site. They want that home featured. They want Candy to drop the name, drop the address, and get a little, yay-hoo-hoo about their house. How can they make that happen? I gotta give our viewers some hope here. How can they get a word from
They
Candy?
should reach out to us, and I think that some realtors are a little bit afraid of us. I've heard that.
What? Party girl?
Party girl? Yep. Well, we do call a spade,
Yeah,
and when
yeah.
we think that a house is not well marketed, which is the realtors, their thing.
good. This is
That is
good
what they do.
information.
They are the marketers, and I tell them all the time, your clients, you tell your clients what to do, because so many realtors say to me, "Oh, but my clients want to be in the morning news. They want to be in that." I said, "You tell them that you're the expert, and you know what is best. And getting you in the morning news and buying some ad in a magazine is not going to sell their home. It is not the way to do it, because if you are." First of all, we have so many international and national buyers, not international, but mostly national buyers. We've got more people are moving to Texas from California, Illinois, and New Jersey. Those are the 3 top states. So putting that ad in that local publication is not going to reach those people. But the thing is, when I have it on my site, we have such good SEO because we're old. This is a good thing to be old, right? We're old, 13 years old. And we started early. And I have my connections with Forbes and all my other publications. We have great SEO. So when we write about that house, it gets out there. And that's what they want it to be out
what
there.
they want.
But we just had a little incident today where some realtor was actually afraid to be on our site. And because one of our clients is a mortgage company, and that they sponsor homes listings to be sponsor content for these agents. And they're like, "Oh my God, we don't want to be on our site." And I'm like, "Why?" She said, "Well, we were afraid of what you would say." And I said, "We're very nice. We're very gentle. We believe that every homes are like children. Every home deserves to be loved, deserves a family,
love
deserves
that.
a parent. Now, we may have some issues with the home. You know, we may have to massage those out a little bit or work on them, maybe call in some experts to help. But we do believe that. So we try to find something positive about every home. And I think that's why they want to be on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Candace, this has been just so wonderful, and we didn't even get through half.
Oh my gosh,
of
look at
our
this.
stuff. I
We had
know.
like, you know.
So we're going to get you back this year, I hope,
Okay.
and be looking for her podcast. I think
Yes,
there's
we're-
some rumblings about that. So
yep.
you'll be hearing that in the news. Mark, you want to leave us with a word before we go?
Wow.
We usually do three.
Yeah, we do three takeaways. I'm
times,
not really
but-
sure. I mean, I just, you know, I can only really kind of think of one summary to that is, and that is that if you're out there selling real estate, connect into something like Candy's Dirt and become knowledgeable.
Absolutely.
And I just firmly believe that, you know, there's so much focus to the marketing of the house and, you know, the issues are interest rate and everything else, but I believe knowledge is power right now. And I think that the agent out there has to be more knowledgeable about what's going on in those marketplaces. And they have to be more empowered and be more consultative with the people that they're serving.
Absolutely.
Because unfortunately, those people are looking to the media first.
Yeah,
And get to some place where you can read some truth.
right.
Yeah,
About what's
about
going
our
on.
market.
Yeah.
I think that's so
that-
true.
That's my thought. And
Good.
as you know, I'm always about learn more, be knowledgeable. about
Absolutely,
your
and
market,
share that with your
and
clients.
share it with your clients. Yeah.
So for you realtors and any other entrepreneur that's watching, business owner, what I want to leave with you today is this is January, the end of January. If you don't have your digital strategy, your marketing strategy, and your content prepared or at least outlined, you need to. So content. I'm always preaching it. Love that Candy said that her main thing is content too. In this world that we're living in right now that's internet driven, you are not going to be heard unless you are niching into a market where people want to hear what you've got to say. And to do that, you pave that way through well-crafted content, just like Candy did in 2010. So I encourage you all to get your tools together, and we will see you February 17th. We'll be streaming live again. And until then, happy Valentine's Day, happy everything day. Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you so much.
It goes by like that.